Hey guys, welcome to another episode of UnVeil. I am exceptionally excited. I know that I say I'm always excited on every episode, but I am really excited because this is really pretty much like the core of what UnVeil is going to be about, right? It's going to be about interviewing women of color on how beauty has evolved for them from when they are a child to how they are to an adult, and how it still changes even into your adult life. And so without further ado, I'm going to introduce you guys to Ferriss. Yay! So just a little bit about Ferriss. And Ferriss, you can correct me if I have anything incorrect. But Ferriss, you were born and raised in Oakland, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Okay, so Ferriss was born and raised in Oakland, California. She is the founder of ComeUpLA, which is a market space for Black-owned brands that are given an opportunity to sell their merchandise and or products. And she is also the brand manager at Soulfolk, a Black-owned co-op boutique located in Leimert Park in Los Angeles. Yes?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, okay, cool. Okay, so I want to give everybody the backstory of like how I met Ferriss, right? So my first year living in Los Angeles, you know, being a single woman, I'm just kind of like exploring the city, and I'm never afraid to like go out and meet like new people and go into like new environments. And I think we met at like maybe like one of Erie's like events, right? Maybe like at Library Bar.
That seems, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah,
Library Monday nights there.
Yeah. It was such a vibe.
Yeah, it was.
And so when I first met Ferriss, my first thing was just, you know, beauty connections with just like women. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like you look so beautiful. Like, what makeup are you wearing? Ferriss is like, I'm not wearing any makeup. And I was just like, I gagged because of how like Ferriss like made me feel like, dang, like, maybe I need to like work on my skincare a little bit better. Cause I'm like, wow, she was just like fair. And also another thing about Ferriss, like, just to kind of let everyone get the energy and feeling of who she is, like she radiates from like within. Like there are people that like you stand still when you meet them, and that is what Ferriss energy had given me when I just kind of just met her, you know, within like the first like 5 minutes of talking to her. So we've just always kind of kept in contact. And so I'm just gonna let Ferriss kind of take the floor. So Ferriss, you know, growing up in Oakland, like I know all of us geographically, we have our different kind of inspirations, right? Just based upon like where we live. So who can you say is like your beauty inspo? And it doesn't have to be specifically geared towards like a person. It could be anything that you can say, hey, you know, this was what my inspiration was.
Well, I didn't really have, or that wasn't something that I really thought about or focused on growing up.
Mm-hmm.
I grew up very strict religious. And like, you know, obviously there was nothing against like doing all the things. But the only person really was like my mom. Like really, my mother was a very, very simple makeup woman, like simple, like, never wore foundation. And then she would do liner on the top. She did liner on the bottom. She'd put mascara, lipstick, usually red or some other color. And then literally use the lipstick and put it on her cheeks and go like that.
Wow.
And then like moisturizer, she just used, used like normal stuff. Pond's was one thing she had used before. But like, yeah, my mother didn't have like a fancy, expensive skincare regimen, but it was definitely something that was instilled in me when I was younger. So I always like washed my face and moisturized since I was like young. And it's not something like I started doing like, oh shit, let me start fucking moisturizing my skin. Right, like I've been forever.
Right.
Forever.
My thing is this though, you're saying that my mom was similar to that, you know, level as well, right? But I feel like for our generation, you know, our parents, when growing up, like, I don't think found beauty in like was so much at the forefront. I think like, you know, as far as like foundation and like all of these things, I think they naturally just finding out just things just around the house, you know, whether it was just like fruits or like plants or whatever they're using to kind of use whatever's around them to stabilize like their skin. You know what I mean? Was your mom a healthy person? Did she
No.
take care of herself? Oh, she did. Oh, you would
I'm
say, oh, no.
the fucking junk food queen. Okay,
Oh
like
my gosh.
she loves the cookies, the chips, the soda, fucking sunflower seeds, hot dogs, chili cheese dogs. Like she did not like drinking water, hated eating salad. Like she would eat it, but like, would have to have some meat in it.
Wait, so how did you figure out for yourself, I mean, navigating through life to saying like, hey, I want to be conscious and aware of what I'm eating, you know, and you get to
That did it's been a progression. It's been a progression for me because well also my dad, he even though he still ate bullshit too, but he was more health conscious than my mother. He took supplements, he worked out, he drank lots of water, he loved salads. You know, so and then he was always taking, you know, colloidal silvers and chlorophyll and nice and all the different little supplements he had. So those are things that I remember growing up. But he also ate all the bullshit, ate all the bad food, ate all the fucking pork and all the fucking alcohol and all the candy. Like he was not immune to it.
Right.
But for me, like when I stopped eating meat, which was like I stopped eating pork and beef in 99 when I graduated high school. And then in 2000, that's when I stopped eating everything else.
Oh my gosh, Ferriss, we're kind of like similar and like think the same way. Like right about like high school, I stopped eating meat too. Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Now,
I still eat food because seafood is fucking
me
delicious.
too, me too.
Like, but
Uh-huh.
I don't do dairy. I cook mostly all my like when I'm hungry, it's hard. Like when I'm hungry, I don't want to order food because I have to cook everything. There's no throw it in the microwaves. I don't do microwaves.
Well, listen, my thing is this. I see your Instagram feeds and I'm like, dang, I need to get better with my how I'm like the things that I'm adding. Like I'm like, dang, mushrooms. I didn't think about you eating mushrooms today, you know what I mean? So I mean, you would fool me by how I see like how you're eating now. I'm not saying like, hey, you just started that journey in 99, right? And kind of like elevated and kind of evolved.
Impressive, because when I first started, I was definitely junk food vegetarian. There was no meat in it. I was good. I was like milkshakes, cheese, pizza, everything, just no meat.
Right.
It wasn't a healthy. I mean, I always loved vegetables and fruits forever, so that's always been a part of what I eat. But it's taken a while to get to the level where I am now.
And do you think that eating that way and eating that healthy way you see the difference in your skin? You see how?
I mean, I've never really had like a lot of problems with my skin, but as I've gotten older and things have changed, I definitely have very, very less problems. Like I very rarely ever get a pimple. Like I think I got something like over here the other day. It's like I got like a little mark right here. But like, you know, they usually fade out and I usually just get like, I'm more prone to blackheads than I am to like actual pimples.
Okay.
So, but the only time that I had in my adult life a really, really bad skin situation was when I tried oil cleansing. And that was a myth farce. that they like because I was looking it up and all the things I looked up and did, and everything was like, oh, it's good. You just use the oil to clean off your face and don't, do all. And the one thing I didn't see until I was fucked up was that it's not good for oily skin.
Right.
And so I had fucking acne all here.
Oh man.
Never had that in my life, even as like a child, like a teenager. And it was horrible.
How did it go? What did you do?
I stopped doing the oil cleansing. I went back to my regular fucking regimen and, that I had at that time, and it just eventually cleared up. Yeah. But I also drink water too, so
that helped too.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Now I drink lots of water.
So what beauty products do you stay consistent with, right? Like what beauty products do you say, like, you know what, this works for me, this has worked for me over the years, and maybe what are some that you've incorporated now?
So I used to be an avid user of, cause I like literally, I don't do fancy shit. So I have fancy shit straight from the drugstore, like nothing fancy. So I used to use, it was like my go-to all the time, and it worked, it worked well. But then as I started getting more like natural based in my stuff, so I would use the St. Ives apricot scrub for exfoliant.
What?
And and then I know people that are into beauty
I
like,
I hear that. I'm like, what?
No, I got off that like some years ago. A makeup artist that used to work with at the photo studio in Nordstrom's. She's an older sister, and she really has nice skin. And she'd be like, "That tears your skin." She's like, "That tears your
exactly.
Stop using it. Stop using it." I was just like, okay. But I would use that, some sort of Neutrogena like toner astringent thing, and then I use this Neutrogena face lotion.
Okay.
That's what I used forever. And then sometimes I would add some oils to it. And I used that for a long, long time. Mm-hmm. And then I changed to like doing just more things that are more natural, have less shit in them.
Yeah, which is what?
So currently what I use, again, very simple ass shit. I wash my face with black soap.
Wow.
Black soap.
I tried to use that and dry my skin out. So it didn't work for me, but
yeah,
it's different.
Yeah. So that's what I use, black soap. And then I use, it's this brand that you can get like at Walgreens, CVS, everywhere. It's called De La Cruz. And they have like, they have, essential oils and other little stuff. I use their rose water as well, but it's a vitamin E cream, but it has other oils in it as well and some other stuff, but it's not as much craziness as some of the other stuff. So I use that and rosehip oil.
Rosehip oil. Yeah, my sister uses that because she suffers from eczema. So yeah. She's found that has helped a lot in her journey of like dealing with her skin.
But yeah, those are like, that's my thing every day and every night. The vitamin E cream, some drops of rosehip oil. And then throughout the day, I usually have rose water with me. So I spray my face with rose water throughout the day to keep it hydrated. I use the one that Mario Babu, whatever. And then I also use, which is actually my favorite one, it's one called, it's either New Heritage or New Horizon.
Yeah, rose water.
Yes.
Yeah, I've been using that for years. That's my thing. I use that all the time.
And their pump is one of the best ones too, because a lot of people's pumps, when they just shoot it at your face.
Yeah, it's not a miss. Oh my gosh, yes, you get it. I said that in my first video when I was talking about products that I use, and I'm like, I love like. Well, actually, let me take that back. It was I actually put that in another bottle because some of their pumps, it actually does not. It goes into the center of your skin. It does not mist out. So, right. But depending on the size that you're getting for the Rose Heritage, it can work, right?
It's and then the other one that I use is the same brand as the vitamin E. It's a rose. It has probably a little more stuff in the other one, but it's rose water, but it has glycerin in it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I use that one. Usually I use that one more so when I'm at the house because it's like heavier. Mm-hmm. So when or if I'm just in the house throughout the day, because LA is fucking dry.
Right. What's the way you don't use sunscreen?
Mm-mm.
You don't wear any sunscreen?
Well, let me see. I mean, like if it's like hella hot or something, like I'll like maybe spray some, or I'll put a little shea butter on.
But okay. But I mean, they make it seem dermatologists and just like beauty gurus are so like avid about like, oh my gosh, it doesn't matter if you have black skin, you should wear sunscreen because
I mean, like if I'm gonna be out and I know it's gonna be hella hot, or beaming, I will like spray something because I prefer that over rubbing in some shit on my face. But like that's some real basic with the things, like Even all my makeup, everything's just basic.
What's crazy about it, you saying that it's so simple. Do you recognize that it kind of circles back into how your mom was as well? Like my mom, I mean, she wasn't like a makeup person at all. I mean, my mom did like a little bit of just like, she would like pencil in her brow and do the same thing as how your mom would use lipstick to use it on her, cheeks. But my mom never wore like foundation. You know what I mean? If anything, it was just really simple, kind of like in and out kind of a situation.
Yeah. And when I do, like I put like a tad bit on today, but or if I'm gonna be on a camera or something, I'll put some on. But it's usually like literally, you know what foundation I use?
What?
Fucking Elf.
That's bomb. I used to use Elf. Yeah, that's bomb.
Like it's cheap, it works, and I'm like,
it works.
And try to deal with like beauty. I get overwhelmed by beauty product stores. Like it's just too much.
I know.
I be like, this is too much. The only thing I do love to do is like I like doing my eyes. So if I do anything, like I love eyeshadow. I had a friend back in the day. She had started working at MAC. And then she started doing her shit. And I was like, girl, what are you doing? I need eyeshadow. And so I like, I had a job that, before that I would buy some with her discount. And then I eventually ended up getting a job. I used to work at an accounting firm. And instead of giving us Christmas bonus, like cash bonus, they would give us $2,000 to $3,000 of Macy's gift certificates.
What?
I would go get like $300 worth of MAC. Like I literally still have some of my eyeshadow pots now. Wow. All I bought was like eyeshadow, and all I bought was eye stuff because all the other stuff wasn't exciting to me. And I'm obviously like blush and stuff like. Yeah. But and lips, like eyes and lips.
You are. That's your thing. That's your jam. That's your jam, Ferriss, for sure. Now, what I love about being a Black woman, right, is that for us, when we like change our appearance, it's not shocking, right? Like it just kind of just like works for us, that whether we change our hair, we're wearing makeup, we're not wearing makeup, you still can see who we are, right? For yourself, because this is like, do you find that you having this short haircut, this is who I am, right? Because a lot of us, I've had many different hairstyles, right? But that's the thing that I love, right? Because of the simple fact that I started to understand that I have the gift of being able to change multiple looks because of how my bone structure is. So it just like being able to change and all that was always so exciting for me, right? Do you feel like this is now like your look that you can identify to say like, listen, I'm gonna always have like a low haircut because it's low maintenance, right? And you don't have to really deal with it. I had it bald one time, and what's kind of funny? Let me say this. Out of all the looks that I've had, right, and I had it really like a buzz cut, that was the most popular one that I got the most people to stare and to actually, and compliment and be like, oh my gosh, you're so beautiful. And I'm like, oh, thank you. Because there's this stigma of like having long hair or having this sense of length of hair to saying like, okay, I feel protected and this is what gives me beauty. What is your thoughts on that?
So I have had pretty much hella hairstyles in my life. It's only one hairstyle I've never had or attempted to have is dreads. Like I'm not into that. It's just way too. When I cut my hair the first time, it was end of 2009 or beginning of 2010, and I did it because it was like to help me move on from a relationship where I had got beaten up.
Oh wow!
And my other ex, who I started being around more after that, that was one of the things. He was like, why don't you cut off your hair and like burn it and like release some of those things? And so I just was like, okay, sure. And I was so nervous because like, growing up, you don't really.
Gosh.
And I don't think, growing up, I grew up Jehovah's Witness, so growing up at the Kingdom Hall, that the sisters that had like short little fros or stuff was like the older sisters. And that usually happens, like the older, like, they just had short hair, but nobody had like a fade. That's mostly, all the brothers, brothers, a man who had fades and like, you just always think you need to have hair. You need to have hair.
Yeah.
And then like, never really, I still to this day don't like the texture of my hair because it's very fine. And like, I don't have like 4C nice, get them nice, thick, luscious, twisted, all that shit. My shit, you twist it up, it's going to be straight.
Right.
And like, and it's not like full and fluffy. Like if I have it, when I used to wear my hair in other ways, it has to be a style.
Yeah.
Like I be, just your hair is just how it is. But, and then I went natural probably when I was 20, 21. And that was just a shock of my whole life because I didn't even know the texture of my hair until that time because I had perms.
Right.
And and then but now like this, I will sometimes, you've seen, like I'll grow it out to about this much.
Yeah.
And
right.
Much work, and then it gotta go.
Right.
I'm like, I can't do it. I don't want to be sitting here for hell. And I just remembered all the hours I spent as a youth, and I know it's still the same amount of time, if not more, as an adult.
Right.
Because I see what all do, and I'm like, nope. And I'm not trying to sell a bread. Right. Like getting hair done, especially out here in LA, people be taxing on these prices. Taxing.
I'm gonna get started. I'll sit there and I'm like, see, in my mind, when I go get my hair done and I'm like, okay, in my mind, I'm calculating just like, okay, I got this done, I got this done, I got this done. It should be about this price. Man, when I hear the price, I gag and I'm like, oh my gosh, I have to like transfer money from another account because I wasn't expecting it to be that much. Yeah. And it's like, why is it so much more when you have short hair to even find a hairstylist that can work with short hair? Because you have to really, the stylist has to really have an understanding of how to cut, right? Because it's a different kind of structure of like what you're doing, right? It's not like long hair, you can just cut it from the bottom. You can like the cuts can be hidden, right? For the certain that it is. But when it goes short, it has to be specific and it has to be precise.
Because if it's not, the whole shit's fucked up. I mean, I will fuck up a fade or do something.
Do you like, do hair or do you go to a barber?
I go to barber. Like we were in this, like, people call it quarantine, but it's totally the wrong word and it peeves me so much. But I was cutting it myself, but it's like, that was when I bleach it because I bleach it myself. Yeah. But like with bleach, you can hide, like, if you cut it fucked up.
Yeah.
But like, after dark, like I'm not playing. I go to my barber because I don't got like that.
For sure. That's kind of interesting that you said that you cut your hair after after a breakup, right? I don't think people have an understanding of knowing that. If people always identify that, when I would cut my hair short, people would think, oh my gosh, what's going on? Are you starting up something new? Sometimes, yes, it would be something new, but other times you are right about that, to saying like, you want to release that energy. It's just something about cutting your hair that's more freeing than just like
that was, it was like, that was you never think it's going to be you until it happens. And even today when it comes out in conversation or I say something, people be like, your boyfriend did what? Like, they look like you, like how? And it's just like, these are the ideas we have of what domestic violence is, but domestic violence can and does happen to any and every type of person.
Yeah, and it doesn't matter.
Yeah, none of it. No, how smart you are, how much money you have, how beautiful you are. Like, none of that shit matters. Like, none of
you think that people say that to us as women, as Black women, because they feel like we're just so strong, and like it's just like, oh wow, I wouldn't think that you would go through or through the experience, because I see this like
a lot of people look at me and be like, wow, you're so strong, you're so this, you're so like, how, wow, how? But often it happens not more so, but to more powerful women than those not, or that's the wrong phrasing, but it's like, it just happens to it happens to everyone. There's no specific face to it, to domestic violence, all that. But and when I did it, I was, and then we went to the shop, and then, first he helped me cut it. And so then I had this little fucking weird thing. And I even went out somewhere to eat, and he was like, I'm surprised you went out to eat looking like that. I was like, whatever, it's just hair. The next day I went to a barbershop. The first cut I got, though, he definitely gave me a man line, you know, a very...
Yes, it's very structured. Right.
Yeah, it wasn't it. But, you know, as I went and I started going, no. But it's as you said, there's even some people you're like, you know, they're like, what type of do you want? I'm like, I want a feminine, like, hair.
Yes.
You know, I don't like doing natural hairline because I feel like that looks unfinished.
Mm-hmm.
And so now recently I just started doing round, because I used to still do like a little peaks, you know, on the sides, but now I just do it round because it makes
opens up your face so much more.
It does.
For you.
Because the first time it did it maybe a year or something ago, a barber did it, and I was like,
huh, it can work.
Exposed to it, because in pictures I had seen of women with round lines, some of them didn't look good, but it's like it probably wasn't the right type of for their face. That's probably why it looked good.
Exactly.
It just like crazy.
And your high bone cheekbones, it frames it. I think that's what it is. That for me personally, when I see you, that's all I think about. I'm like, dang, she got some beautiful like high bone structure, like cheekbones. What's your favorite feature of yourself?
I like my eyes. I mean, I like my eyes. I like my lips. I like my cheekbones. Yeah. I mean, I my face. So yeah, I actually like my face. Like, I don't feel a way about my nose or like, you know, my like all the things separately. I like them separately, and collectively, you know, we have moments where we be tripping, but like, I definitely, you know, appreciate my ancestors for blessing me.
Yes. Are your parents they've moved on, right? Are they here?
Yeah. No,
okay. How did you deal with that as a, you know, are you an only child as well?
No.
Okay. And how did you deal with that being, you know, a woman, I guess, for yourself? How did it, and then even seeing the person that brought you into the world, you know what I mean? How does that energy for yourself, like, you know, as you're getting older and, you know, trying to figure it out when it happened to like kind of moving on and kind of going through life?
You know, it's hard. Like, legit, like, it's hard. And especially now as I mean, I've been an adult for a while, but like continuing because you don't realize until you're actually in the ages like, oh, this is a consistent process of getting older, of becoming grown up. It doesn't just happen at like, oh, I'm 25 now, I'm a grown up. No. Still got some fun. At 30, 35, I'm about to be 40 in May. Okay. And like, I'm like, huh.
Ferriss, you're about to be what? I would not.
In May.
This is what they say, like, black do not crack. Man, black does not crack. What? Yeah. Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness. Sorry to interrupt. Anyway, yeah, go ahead.
I mean, I call them my glitter hair.
Yeah, come on, like, glitter hair.
Because they sparkle. I'm just like glitter hair. Don't worry.
Go ahead. Sorry about that.
It's just hard, like, as I get older, because, you know, number one, you know, my mom and dad, they're not here to see my growth. And well, they're here in the spirit realm, but they're not here in physical form to see like my growth, my maturation, my coming into and claiming my power myself, my, you know, being committed. And I've always been committed to what I want to do. I'm even more so committed now. You know, my parents didn't always understand why don't you just get a regular job? And I've had regular jobs, it just doesn't suffice me. We just don't connect very well. And, you know, and I think, you know, Mother Nature willing, when I have a child, you know, they're not going to be able to meet their grandparents. You know, if I get married or have a solid partner, they're not going to meet that person. And it's just like a big kind of like void that there's no one that can fill that void, you know what I'm saying, of sharing all these experiences and things that I know that they would have been a part of. And, you know, you only get one set of parents. And, you know, when you're growing up, you know, all of us have little beefs with our parents in certain ways. Well before my parents passed, I started just like viewing and looking at my parents as people and not just as my parents. Because if you consistently look at your parents as just your parents and they didn't do this and how come this and why this, but you're like, I think about at my age, my parents had already they had house, even though they didn't own it, had a house, my dad has his business, 2 kids, you know, all these things going, plus all the stressors of growing up in Oakland and building and living and life. And I think now I'm like, damn, I'm providing for myself, which sometimes is a struggle. I ain't got no kids to provide for. And so, you know, you think about maybe your parents were going through a time, you know, you go through times where you don't want to talk to people. You don't feel good about yourself. You're stressed out, you're depressed. And as a parent, you can't not talk to your kids. You can't not take care of them. You can't not be open. You can't not be available to them. And I think about all those things now. I'm like, damn, if I had a kid right now, how would I deal with, especially when I was grieving real heavy with my parents, how would I deal with trying to function? And I thought about when my grandma Tuda, when she died, or when my mom's parents died. I remember them seeing them sad or cry maybe once, but then nothing. But it's like they wasn't over it. But I don't remember as a child seeing how they dealt with it, what they did, how are they coping, how did that life? Because I think about that as a person, the things that I've gone through. I'm like, shit, my parents were people. They had feelings. They probably were depressed, sad, upset, Lord knows what else, you know? So that really helped me in like not holding on to like some of the toxic behavior that I grew up around, you know, because I could hold that forever. Because as I love my daddy and I'm hella like him, but he definitely was a verbally abusive and emotionally abusive person to all growing up. And while I don't, say like, justify it at all, that's the best that he knew how to be from how he grew up, which is which was a way more toxic situation, and and all sorts of other things within that for him, so I was like, that's what he knew. And then this is what he felt was best for us, to be in this religion, to do this, to be this way, so that this doesn't happen and this doesn't happen, and keep them safe and stuff. And you don't think about none of that shit as a child. You're just like, ugh.
You're just a child. You're just kind of like, you're just kind of going with emotions of like what you're being told.
Right. And then some people still grow up and be like, oh, my parents, I don't want to be around. I don't want to talk to them. They did this and they did that. And it's like, motherfucker, yeah, they did. Maybe talk to them. And then also like I'm saying, look at your parent as a person. Like, look at them as a person like you would your friend or anybody.
Oh my God.
Parents is people.
Absolutely. Yes. Oh my gosh. Dang, this is like so good. Oh my gosh, I love this. I love this conversation, Ferriss. I want to have also just, I'm going to kind of close this up, but because like, again, UnVeil is revealing who you are, right? And like what we're seeing through your eyes and your experiences. And I think a lot of times for us, like, people identify with beauty as being like the external part and not understanding that beauty is about life, right? Beauty is how you make your life and how you make of it. And so that's why I wanted to create this channel, because every woman's story is different, and every woman's challenges and their positives and their negatives, they all collide and they come together to allow you to be who you are becoming. What last thing before we wrap this up? What's a takeaway beauty secret that you can share with us?
Drink water. Drink water. Drink water. Like, water is good for everything. I mean, your body's.
Do you have a specific water? There's spring, there's alkaline, there's all these different.
I mean, right now I use my Brita, and then I buy Crystal Geyser because it's spring water. And I mean obviously an alkaline too sometimes, but like what I have in my house.
Yeah.
And I do buy alkaline sometimes, you know, even though some of them shits is playing y'all and me. Because like what's in the bottles ain't it. Because it's not supposed to be in a clear bottle. It's supposed to be in like a blue or tinted bottle or something.
Why?
In a clear bottle. Look it up. Look it up, girl. Look it up.
Are you kidding me? Oh man.
And it's like they be playing people. It's like, oh, it's alkaline. Oh, okay, let me buy it. But it's like it's not supposed to be in a clear container. But yeah, drink water. I can't say sleep because I don't sleep very well. So, and there has been so many times where I'll be dog ass tired, didn't have enough sleep, and people are like, "Oh my God, you look so great," and I'll be like,
right? That's what I'm saying.
Hell, I'm tired. Like, yeah, I just was like drink water and moisturize your skin, like
beyond anything.
Because like cleaning your face off is really important. I'm not going to say that I always remember all the time, but even like if I'm too lazy, I try not to be. I like try to use a makeup wipe, something, because it's just LA's dirty. I mean, you know, and so just
smog and all of that. That's what you're saying.
You know, when you come inside, even if you didn't touch nothing or you touched one thing, you wash your hands, you come home, they're like black dirt coming off.
I know. I think it's LA and New York for sure.
Like, and it's like that's on your face too, and then you sleep in it, and it's, you know, I just said drink water and moisturize your skin.
Okay.
Like,
all right, Ferriss, thank you so much. I really appreciate you, man. Thank you so much for being my first guest. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. I can't wait to share this with everyone. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thanks, boo.
All right, you're welcome.
Bye.
Toodles.